So what makes me really why I like Clive so much is that the soul I can't talk the Deliverance being like royalty and sort of bringing his philosophy.
Spoiler alert.
I didn't see it.
We shouldn't talk on those, but I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what's most interesting about what you discussed up until now had nothing to do with his stats or how good he was as a unit, but strictly what makes Fire Emblem so amazing and our attachment to these games and their characters is the fact that they have great characterization.
Yeah, you're right.
Greetings.
What's up, dude?
I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man.
Just had work?
Taking a look at this stream there. Yeah, I had work, and then I had to open the gym today, so I woke up at 4.
Jeez.
Yeah, but you're a teacher, right?
I am a teacher.
Yeah, you must have early mornings too, then.
Yeah, I usually end up with 4 to 5 hours of sleep, or even less sometimes. Usually, because these guys here in the chat, they like to keep me awake. So,
damn.
Not everybody on Twitch is gonna actually know who you are. So maybe do a little bit of an intro for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Ghast. I do Fire Emblem content on YouTube. Do a big mix between like Let's Plays and character analysis, some shit posts and stuff. What's your policy on swearing? Because I tend to do that.
Don't worry about it. Keep it natural.
Okay.
I mean, minimize if you can, because maybe there's some kids or something. But it's okay. You don't. If it comes out naturally, I'm not gonna hold it against you.
right. Yeah. So yeah, I do like some shit posts and Let's Plays and character breakdowns and the odd random kind of video. And lately I've been doing some vloggy stuff. But yeah. In terms of Heroes, I mean, yeah, I don't really do it that often anymore. I'm really hot and cold with that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'm really into it, and sometimes I'm not into it.
So the Fire Emblem Heroes stuff that you do, what is it like? You obviously came from more Fire Emblem stuff, so how does it feel to be playing it, like, on and off? What gets you into it, and what gets you out of it? Sure.
What gets me into playing Heroes is the Grand Hero battle stuff, and the story maps and whatnot, and any of the quests that are easy that I can get orbs off, because I'm pretty casual when it comes to the game. Like, I don't really know a lot about arena stuff. I never really bothered. I must have actually I might have 100-something crests or whatever. I don't even know what they're called anymore. Hold on.
You can't run out of them. You literally can't.
Yeah, well, you can definitely stockpile them. I have dueling swords. I don't know how many dueling swords I have, and I have like 1 million of them. I don't use them that often. Yeah, they keep regenerating. So yeah, it's what keeps me into it is the Grand Hero battle stuff, and most of my Heroes content now is mostly F2P runs of Infernal maps. That's about it. And what gets me in and out of it is just I don't know. I don't really have a lot of knowledge in the game, so I don't feel like I can contribute that much to. I don't want to say not community for lack of a better term, but I can't really make something groundbreaking or interesting or talk about something that no one else has talked about. And that's kind of what I really like doing, or trying something new.
You don't follow a guide, do you? You actually try to figure it out yourself, I'm assuming. Because if you like the Grand Hero battle, you don't just copy. That would be no fun.
I have way too much pride to follow a guide. I have way too much of that.
I agree completely. I like the challenge, so I try not to take too much advice when doing them. I love that sort of stuff. Did you like the most recent one with Takumi? It was considered one of the hardest ones.
Oh yeah, dude. It was tough, man. I actually tried to have a strategy where I used the Black Knight and I gave him armored boots and lunge, and I got close but it never worked out. And then I was like, Phoenix Master, you gotta help me out, dude. And so Phoenix was he jumped on the call, and me and him shot the shit for 2 hours and just figured it out. It was fun.
Yeah, I've seen some of the collabs you've done with him where you talk about skills. Some of the videos I can't recall, but definitely I've seen some of your stuff with him. And so he helps you out to knowledge and all that, to keep you up to the speed on the game.
I wouldn't say that. I mean mostly when we're collabing together, we both we know what the subject is ahead of time. We both prepare for it.
So Fire Emblem, this is basically what keeps you in here, right? I'm assuming it's not the gacha appeal. I personally never played gachas up until Fire Emblem Heroes. I didn't even know what a gacha was. First thing I did starting up this game, I'm like, how do I get my favorite heroes? And somebody said, oh, you have to go summon for them. And I'm like, what does that mean? Are you kidding me? I have to like rely on luck to get my favorite Lyn and favorite like Ike? Like, where's Ike? where are all these dudes? And I actually ended up getting like a Roy in the beginning, and I'm like, oh, I don't want Roy.
That's fair. No one wants Roy. Roy's not good. I don't blame him. I don't like Roy at all.
Yeah, I ended up, honestly, in the first few months of the game, I was really, really bad at this game, I'd say. Compared to a traditional Fire Emblem, there's a lot of depth that goes into something as a mobile game like this. And I'd say maybe that's one of the reasons there's such a community behind it. And tons of good decision making you can make just in strategy alone. I love the combat system in this game because it's not RNG based. I wish I could put away all the RNG involved with getting my favorite heroes and like their stats. You know, are you familiar with the IV system? Yeah, so that stuff just drives me nuts because I'm like, I don't like my fate being decided by randomness. But then when I go into a map like the Ground Hero Battles, which is what I totally agree with you on, or making proper preparations in arena, there's a little bit of a random element there. But if you know the meta and you can, you know, prepare properly, like pre-strategizing, like the base in like a traditional Fire Emblem. If you go a blind playthrough, like you don't know what you're gonna run into, who to train and how to counter stuff. After your first run, yes, but the first run, no. So I treat it kind of the same way. And
yeah, and in regards to like with regards about like the gacha appeal, I never played a gacha game before, and like the whole like the gacha isms of it, like the stamina shit and like the low rates, and like I'm not like, it's like one of those things where like you have to like concede that this is what you're playing and like this is definitely like gacha, and there are some parts of it like I don't like. I for some reason can't conserve my stamina potions, and I'm always on like life support with those, and it sucks because I'll be like trying to beat like this map or whatever, and then
life support.
I'll realize I have like 5 stamina potions left. I'm like, man, I don't want to play this anymore. Like, it's just
I just want to play. I don't want you to be restricting me on the stamina. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, and I get why it's like to, I guess, keep you like not like overstimulating you by burning you out with the game, but at the same time it's like, let me play my game, dude.
I know. Yeah, there's definitely some strategy involved in using your stamina as well, and like you have to be efficient, like playing every day, so that if you fall behind, you're not wasting it and using stam potions on the days you're catching up. So yeah. I feel like when I neglect my account for like 1 or 2 days, it's like, oh no, now I have to like use stam potions to catch up to all this limited time events and stuff going on, and if I don't, I feel like I'm missing out, or it's a bummer.
It's too, man, like the mental gymnastics behind Heroes is just too above me, man. I can't handle it. Can't do it.
Hey, give yourself some credit. I don't necessarily think I'm the best player ever either. I make mistakes all the time here, but I don't know why they watch me, but they still watch me, so I just try to just take the approach of teaching here and hope I can help someone out there that might be new to the game and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That works for you because you're a teacher. What do you teach, by the way?
Just English. I teach all ages too.
Oh, neat.
So what do you use your stamp pots on the most, actually? Just curious. You said you're casual, but I'm curious because there's a couple of questions I'd love to ask you based on that, and I'm sure people can relate. Sorry.
Okay. Well, it's mostly the Grand Hero battles because that's mostly what I use my stamina for. Other times it's to finish quests. Yeah, and it's mostly just doing quests and doing Grand Hero battles. And Bound Hero battles too. Like, I'm really, really bad. I have no patience, man. Like, if like I can't sit down and like draft out like my plan. I'm just gonna go in, try to figure it out. If I mess up, I'll try again, and I'll try again, and I'll try again. And like I know that's what I shouldn't be doing, because there was one of the Grand Hero battles. I think it wasn't Arvis. It was Falter, I think. I don't know. It was one of them.
Falter's one of the hardest as well. The 3 hardest, I'd say, are the Takumi one, Leon one's exceptionally hard, and the Falter. They're just so hard.
Yeah, I actually never bothered with Leon. I think I might have had like a 3-star one.
Do you actually like stubbornly try to use one team and one skill set, or do you try to re-strategize after a failure? Like, how do you approach these things?
Oh, I definitely re-strategize. That's the really cool thing about it. Is that if one thing doesn't work, and since there's no RNG involved, it's like either you have to change how you're approaching the map, as in like changing how the AI is reacting to you, or you just come up with like different skill combinations that will do what you got to do. So like, let's say I lost on turn 2 and then I change up a skill and I get to turn 3, and now it's like the new challenge is how do I get through turn 3, and then eventually I get through all the turns and I win. And that's kind of my mentality.
Do you ever like try to cheese it? Like, I don't know how influenced you are. Like, does your community reach out to you a lot? Because I get this a lot when I'm playing these Ground Hero battles. By now, I've kind of perfected them, where I kind of 2-shot, 3-shot them. I don't really overcommit on stamina. I just try to pick like my favorite team comp and stubbornly try to just adjust their skills minorly to adjust it. If you've seen me play, it usually takes me like 2 to 3 minutes per turn or more, because I do some over analyzing on where units move, how much damage is done, making mathematical calculations. There's all this stuff involved. So if I'm gonna commit, I try to not to overuse stam. But do you actually get influenced by your community where they're like telling you to use Reinhardt or like a bow dancer, or like Bolin or something, and like 3 dancers, and like, yeah, I did it this way, you can cheese it this way too, Ghast, just follow these exact steps and you'll win. Like, how do you feel when people say that to you? Do they say that to you?
I don't know. They don't. And like,
no, they don't.
I would listen to them anyway. Like, like I said, it's like, I'm not going to, like, first of all, I have 3 Olivias, but like, I don't have any Brave Bow Archer. Reinhardt's, he has to be summoned to come in. So I've never used Reinhardt in any of the special maps. No, I'd never do that. I would never like listen to my community in that regard. I would only listen to like my friends. I would only complain about it in Discord. Hopefully like Phoenix Master would help me out, and like that's it. He's like my resource. He's like my one guy. I'm like, I just DM him like, Phoenix, help me out here. What should I do? And he's like, oh, try this. I'm like, okay. Other times it's like, I don't usually like
Don't tell me he tells you to use Reinhardt and like 3 dancers or something.
No.
It has become like a meme here where you're just using like the most powerful unit with a bunch of dancers to cheese it. But it's nice that you get that sort of help.
Yeah.
So what is your team comp? What do you like using?
I really like using... See, my thing is I like using units that are like super shafted, like to the moon. Like
so
in
Odin?
one of the Grand Hero battles,
is that Odin?
No, not Odin. In fact, I don't have the F2P Odin that came out. I skimped out on that. But like, I tried to use Navarre for one of the Grand Hero battles, and he was like one of my main guys for it. I forget which one it was at this point. Like, I have a bad memory. I don't remember the videos I made like 2 weeks ago.
Navarre. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was Navarre one. I think that was with the Celica Bound Hero battle. No, Cecilia Bound Hero battle with Lilina. And then I used like Henry and Oboro for the Clarice Grand Hero battle, and I used Clive for... Clive like played a minor role in like the Michaelis one, but Michaelis was pretty easy of a Grand Hero battle. Like all these Grand Hero battles are pretty easy, but when it gets to like the really, really tough ones, I usually fall into like using Olivia or using Black Knight. I don't really have like a team comp that I use all the time, but like I feel like the most consistently good F2P like units, like Fjorm, Black Knight, and like Brave Lyn, are the ones I would use. I try not to use them as often, but like if I'm desperate, then I'll use them. But my favorite units to use in these maps are like just some like random shitty like old Grand Hero battle unit, or like some F2P units that are just like
Clive.
Clive's the man. I love Clive. He's so fun.
That will branch into my next question for you. But before I do, I had to clarify this. So I heard you say that involves summoning. I heard Reinhardt. So does that mean, do you play strictly free to play without summoning at all? Is that your playstyle? I know some people do that. I'm not 100% sure. That's why I'm asking. And maybe the chat doesn't know either.
When it comes to event maps, yeah. When it comes to event maps, I'll use only the 3 heroes units, or like Tempest Trial units, or like those like recurring units from the special maps that are free, that haven't been updated in a year, which is kind of annoying at this point.
Do you limit yourself in skill options too?
I try to. The only skills I inherit are ones that are found on F2P units, which is kind of which the pool is getting big, but they're mostly like free to play friendly. Like they're pretty easy to find. Like, I don't know, what's one that's like, I don't know, one like a Hone or something, or like one of the like Sword Breaker. Like if you have like 600 Sullys, then you can get rid of one or something like that.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people say kill your Fjorm for attack defense bond, kill legendary Ike, Vanguard Ike for the warding breath, easily available to complete this strategy. Just do this, and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's like you have to get rid of like one of the most rare skills, and like I'm not gonna do that. It seems like not a good idea, not worth it for one map. Although that said, when I got my summon Fjorm, I got rid of attack defense bond and put it on my Robin.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Good usage right away. Yeah, so honestly, I didn't really, I didn't bring you here for the audience to discuss total like Fire Emblem Heroes, like super analysis, crazy strategies, meta things. I actually brought you here, and I've told you already that I want to like enlighten people. For those of you in watching us right now, if you haven't played a main series Fire Emblem, I think Ghast has been around a long time. That he could maybe. And we can talk about it a little bit to maybe give you some suggestions what to play, what makes Fire Emblem so good. So you mentioned Clive, but there's no way you like Clive because of Fire Emblem Heroes, right?
No.
Okay, good. I think what I want to ask before you even talk about Clive is, guys in chat, if you haven't played Fire Emblem, like main Fire Emblem series, like let us know. I actually want to see how many of you have actually played main Fire Emblems. What's your favorite game? And if you have you only played Fire Emblem Heroes? Do you want to try Fire Emblem? That's the question I'll give you guys in chat while we a little bit talk about it ourselves. So tell me about Clive. You said Clive, but to us that's a meme. To us that's a meme. So go ahead.
So what makes me really why I like Clive so much is that his role in Echoes was so powerful. Like he had that moment with Alm where like Clive's perspective on the soul, I can't talk, the Deliverance being like royalty, and Alm sort of bringing his philosophy, showing him the power of a farm boy, what he could do, and Clive is just like, shit man, you're right. There's the moment in the writing where it's like, oh, so powerful, man. Echoes is great.
Spoiler alert.
I didn't see it coming.
Spoiler alert! Right until the end. we shouldn't talk on those, but I mean I know exactly what you're talking about. What's most interesting about what you discussed up until now had nothing to do with his stats or how good he was as a unit, but strictly what makes Fire Emblem so amazing and our attachment to these games and their characters is the fact that they have great characterization.
Yeah, you're right. And just even on the point of Echoes, like people, I guess I'm trying not to spoil it, but like Celica and Alm are like so good. They're so good, and it's like, they're so perfectly written almost. Like it's not because the actions that they do, it's like their importance to the themes of Echoes and how Alm is like his philosophy is Regalian and therefore Duma's, and Celica's philosophy is Zophian and therefore Milla's, and how that clashes and how that comes together like so seamlessly. It's like it blows my mind. Like Echo's story actually blows my mind because it's so like sharp on the themes, and I can't even explain it. Like it's amazing. The story for Echoes is like incredible to me.
So I'm gonna have to go pull my 3DS and start playing it right now because you do have some good points. I never played the post game stuff either, but I won't talk about that either. There is some stuff for me to do when I go back to it. I completely agree. Characterization is what makes these characters so great, and actually my whole thing with playing Heroes is being able to use characters from the whole series, which have been my favorite that I have an attachment to. I don't know if you did the survey on Fire Emblem Heroes where they were looking for feedback, and there was like, what makes a character good for you in Fire Emblem Heroes? And one of the questions they actually asked us was like attachment to the character from a previous series. That actually was a question which I chose, and I think a lot of people chose that as well. So
yeah, well, the really great thing about Heroes, I mean, we're bringing it back to Heroes, but something that I really need to praise Heroes for is like their like really good like writing when it comes to characterization, and like the attention to detail is like out of this world in some of the writing. Like,
wait, are you praising Fire Emblem Heroes story?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you're gonna get some backlash on this one.
Not necessarily the main campaign. Not necessarily the main campaign, but like in the Tempest trial with the Berserker, the mini Tempest trial, whatever. And
I remember. Yes, I remember.
In the end, where I think it was Hector was talking to Eliwood, or Hector was talking to Masked Marth, and he was just talking about how he's like fated to go or something, or die in battle, and it was just I forget the entire thing, but it was all a nod to like Hector's fate, and it was just like, wow, dude, like that was like some good attention to detail. It was just really cool.
If you know the backstory, for sure. What about for those that don't?
For those that don't, play Fire Emblem 7 and figure it out yourself.
Thank you. That's the answer we want to go towards. It's great if you could make some connections with their original stories. Some of the stuff, like Elwood, is like, if you played the Tempest Trials with Elwood and Roy, it's like, Dad, why aren't you sick? Yeah.
Yeah. Parallel universes.
Yep.
Alternate dimensions. Space-time.
So no one's gonna get that reference unless you actually play the old game. So, do you actually, when you play an original Fire Emblem game, so a lot of people that play Heroes, I'm gonna make some connections with Heroes, but I do want to focus on the main games. When people play Heroes, I've noticed a trend where people do use units just because of stats. They may not have their connection to those characters, and I'm curious. Well, Reinhardt's a pretty good example of this. No one had a connection to Reinhardt before Heroes. there's no way. I like Reinhardt now, but just because of voice lines. But in general, how about you, Ghast? Did you actually like characters in the main series Fire Emblem because of their strength? Their actual stats. You talked about Clive in a story perspective, but were there characters that you were like, oh my god, that character has some bad characterization, but he's so powerful? Like, how did you feel about those kind of characters? I think a good example of this could be like, actually, none of them comes to mind right now. Maybe you could help me out here.
Camilla.
Thank you. I mean, but to be fair, she wasn't that bad in characterization. No, I would argue, maybe not the worst, but kind of.
She wasn't great. She wasn't great in characterization.
Corrin. Oh my god, there we go. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, Camilla is just one of the best characters in Conquest, and Conquest is such a hard game that like you kind of get I don't want to say you get an attachment to Camilla, but like she is so good. She is so good, especially in like Lunatic Conquest. Characters like that, characters like I know there's some like Har. People love Har in FE9 and 10. First, because his personality is kind of chill, but like he's just an amazing unit. Like he's like the best unit in Radiant Dawn. It makes no sense how good he is. It's just stupid. Like it's absolutely stupid how good Har is.
I like how you mentioned two wyverns that both use axes.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's like they're just like needlessly overpowered, and they just are that. And like, okay, so like I associate like Har with just being a beast, and whenever I see Har, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use him because he's so good. I don't necessarily like his character that much, but like when you invest so much time into a character that you know is good and is going to give you good returns, and like, yeah, I'd say you develop an attachment to them.
Would you consider Mia to have good characterization?
Mia?
Yeah.
She's chill. She's okay. I don't think she's the best like sword fighter in Path of Radiance. I think in terms of Myrmidon, I actually prefer Zyhark and Stefan over her.
Feels bad,
she's
man.
Chill. He's chill.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. I think most people would actually say her characterization's fairly on the lower end of blandness, but that's a character for me that had both like, oh my god, this unit is great, and is pretty like positive and really optimistic that I could relate to. Whereas Zyhark was more like, protect the animals.
Dude, what? No.
That's my impression of him. I benched him so fast. I didn't get a chance to actually try out his supports, but I swear first impressions was like protect. Like I just felt he was like an animal lover, like you know what I mean.
God, you'll lose it at his supports. They're so funny. Man, you have to read his supports off the stream. Like you should read his supports. You'll laugh. They're really, really good. his base conversations with Ike are really great. His supports with Braum is really funny. I think he has a support with he has a support with Leith. He's like this really weirdly progressive character.
Should I read or just actually replay it sometime and just use him instead of Mia?
You should read. There's only 3 support conversations he has. He has like Braum, Leith, and like someone else.
So he's not necessarily worth replaying the game for, just for conversations.
Just
all right, I'll check them out.
Yeah, I was actually gonna make an analysis on Zyhark down the line.
An unit analysis or like a character analysis?
Character analysis.
Character analysis, cool. How do you feel about the RNG aspects of the main series games? So like I praised it earlier with Heroes being like the combat, and this is one of my favorite things about Heroes, the combat not being RNG dependent and every action has a consequence. But the RNG in main series, let's talk a little bit about this.
Sure.
How many times have we gotten destroyed by the 1%?
Well, I think RNG used to be like for the main series, like omitting Heroes. RNG used to suck because it was up until Fire Emblem 7 there was only one random number. And I guess if people don't really get what we're talking about, so the way FE1 up to FE6 worked was that like let's say you had a 60% chance to hit, you had purely a 60% chance to hit in with a 1 RN type thing. And then after FE6 and then from FE7 onward, I think until Fates where that changed the thing, it went 2 RNs, which means like a 60% would be somewhere like near actually a 70, like true hit basically. Yeah. And so true hit was really, really annoying because a 60%, like a true hit 60% is actually a lot less consistent than you think it is. As opposed to like FE7's 60%, which is near like 70% actually.
Some people are saying 6 had true hit. Are we sure about this?
It did have true hit.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember FE6 sucking for that. One of the reasons why I didn't like it was because it had true hit. And yeah, so you really notice like what's like when you're dealing with a game with 1 random number versus like 2, because like it's just the reason they did it is so like you can plan your strategies more efficiently, because if you think something's gonna miss, it probably will miss. If you think something's gonna hit, it's probably going to hit. And that is a lot easier to deal with when you're dealing with like percentages that are more reliable to trust with 2 random numbers instead of 1. And that's why true hit kind of sucked. RNG like was kind of stupid at some games because like, did you ever play Thracia before? Thracia?
No. I played with Originology. I didn't play Thracia though.
So the way FE5 did it was that 100% didn't exist. It went up to 99. So you could genuinely actually miss a heal.
Wait, like, healing was actually accuracy based? This yes. I didn't know this one.
Yeah, you can miss a heal. It's absurd. Like you can actually genuinely miss a heal. Like 99, you have a 1% chance of missing a heal, and it happens like more often than you think because it's true hit. And like that like got me good once. Like I was playing Thracia, and then I missed a heal and it just ruined me. I lost, and I was just like, you know what? This is dumb. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. No one understands why it happened, but it did. And that was Thracia, and that's why Thracia is one of those weird games, because like it had a lot of questionable decisions, but it also had like a lot of really cool revolutionary mechanics that Fire Emblem has stuck with ever since. And yeah, so RNG kind of, it's one of those things where like I'd rather play the latter games if we're talking purely from like gameplay, unless we're talking about Gaiden, because Gaiden is the best game ever, and then Echoes is better than that.
So you liked Gaiden then before Echoes even came out. Echoes had crazy production value compared to Gaiden, which
oh yeah, dude,
It was
Gaiden
a little
was
awkward.
awesome.
Why did you like
Gaiden was-
Gaiden then? For those who don't know,
Ga-
Gaiden was like Pixel City, very little storyline in it.
Yeah.
You could barely make out some characters, how they look now.
So the one thing that I really, really like in one of the reasons why I love Fire Emblem so much, and one of the reasons why I really respect Kaga, and Kaga was the guy who designed the director of Fire Emblem from
1 to
up till
5.
1 to 5. So his sort of mentality was basically, the way I understand it was, he's going to do whatever he wants. He's going to come up with an idea and he's going to do it. Like, he's going to come up with this random stupid idea. He's going to roll with it. And if it sticks, it sticks. If it misses, it misses. And like, he just kind of shot ideas out there. And some of them were like really amazing. Others were stupid. But like Gaiden was one of those games where it had like, it was like, like insanely different from FE1. Like, I never played FE1, but I played all the other Fire Emblems. And then I went back to I went back to Gaiden, and it was so refreshing. It was like, what is this, like traversable terrain, like traversable like map, like RPG elements, like learning stuff like on the go, and it was crazy. It felt like I was playing like a new entry to the franchise, honestly, because it was just so different.
This was after playing which one?
Fates, I think.
Okay,
yeah.
That would be a big difference.
Yeah, it was crazy different, man. And it was just fun. Like, it was just a fun game, and like there wasn't a lot of like story involved. It was mostly just playing maps. Like, there was no real like, you weren't like getting bogged down by text over and over. It was just
gameplay.
Gameplay, man. It was just gameplay. It was just gameplay. Like, some maps are pretty stupid, but like, whatever, dude. Like, you have a NES emulator. Like, you can toggle the speed. Who cares? Like. That's basically what I did. Like, the music was pretty repetitive, so I just turned the music off and I just like blasted some music and I just like chilled and like made a let's play about like Gaiden. It was sweet. It was super fun.
You put on other Fire Emblem music, or did you put on like your personal taste?
I put on my personal taste.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's okay. So Echoes must have really blew you away then.
Dude, Echoes was like next level. It was stupid. It was stupid great. I can't even talk about Echoes still. It's like just the best game ever. I love Echoes so much.
What do you predict the next game will be remade then? And hopefully with the same production value?
Oh, sure. I think that FE6 or FE9.
6 or 9? Yeah, I remember somebody on the dev team saying that they wanted to remake 6. 9 would be Path of Radiance, though. Oh, they really want to milk the Ike popularity if they go at 9.
I think honestly, what they're gonna do is, because since FE9 was like it was a huge game. Like, FE9 was big and a lot of writing in it. I don't think it would be like. I think it would be just a huge production to do like a Fire Emblem Echoes of Path of Radiance. I imagine like FE9 is probably going to get released on like on a virtual console, or like it might be like remastered or something.
I've been waiting for that for years.
Years. But I don't think they're going to like remake that. I think they would remake FE9 or FE6 because like Roy's extremely popular. We never had it. It's one of those games where like there wasn't really a lot of dialogue, so like you could definitely like flesh that out. And it just has a lot of appeal to like literally everyone except for me, because I didn't like FE6 that much, but I'd definitely play a remake for sure.
of FE6, especially if they fix. Did Echoes fix True Hit? I can't remember.
Nope.
True Hit was still there.
Yep.
They went from like fixing it in Fates to bringing it back in Echoes.
Yeah,
that would explain my misses on certain units.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, that seems like okay. So I guess the biggest question to ask then is, how is Fire Emblem Heroes going to influence our future Fire Emblem games? What do you think is going to happen? Because this has been wildly successful, I'd say, probably if not the most successful Fire Emblem game, ironically. Do they put their resources into Fire Emblem Heroes, or do they actually make like the highest production value for Fire Emblem we've ever seen on the upcoming game? What do you think?
I think they're gonna make Switch like just the best, like just an amazing game. Like Heroes is like its own kind of beast. Like there's a set group of developers that make that game. Like they're generating lots of money. Like they're fine. Like Heroes by themselves could do, like they can do whatever they want. Like intelligence systems and like that department, they can keep working on Heroes. They can like siphon off their revenue to the Switch. But like we have to remember, like even if Heroes wasn't a game, like FE16 was still going to be made and stuff. Like the revenue from Fates and the revenue from Echoes is like still a lot.
Well, for sure, Heroes wouldn't even be probably as popular as it was without the other Fire Emblem games carrying it. So
yeah,
it makes sense
of course
they work together.
But yeah, I think it makes me excited because I feel like, I mean, if I didn't know any better, Intelligent Systems is like drowning in dough right now. Like they're just drowning in dough. So like, yeah, I think Switch is going to have amazing production value. I think it's going to be wildly popular, honestly. I think it's going to be like I think it's going to be a hit. I genuinely think like FE16 is just going to be like out of this world.
Were you shocked that we had no announcement on that in the direct, which I'm sure you watched, right?
No, I didn't watch it. I was working, and then I was working out. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I didn't expect.
It's okay. It didn't miss much.
Really, yeah.
It didn't miss much.
Like I was hopeful for sure. I was hopeful something was gonna happen, but I wasn't gonna like, okay, here we go. Like this is happening. Like I'm gonna live stream it. Yada yada yada. No, I'm not gonna. First of all,
yeah.
I'm not really about that. And
wasted
also, like,
30 minutes of my life. A bunch of filler content, then all I got was a teaser for Smash. That was pretty much it. Save yourself 30 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, I hope we do get some news. Maybe they'll come up with something like a Fire Emblem Direct now that it's become enough, like a big enough series that it deserves its own attention. Maybe touching on, you know, future games content they're going to release, combining maybe Heroes and the Switch game, maybe like a 3DS game coming as well. Like I feel like with all the dough, you know, all the money they've made, they've probably hired more people, expanded the company to probably make something of its own. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful
who knows,
of it.
man? Like it's this Fire Emblem is just like blown up. It's crazy, dude. It's so huge now. It's like dumb, you know? It's just so big. It's a crazy big IP now. It's really shocking to like start so small and then just get rejuvenated, and now we're here. And the fact that we're here right now, and like Intelligence Systems like has not forgotten where it's come from. It's so cool. Like that's the really cool part about it.
Yeah, there's so many nice Easter eggs and touches to the characters' dialogue and art styles, voices and such from Heroes that they really retain and keep from the old games. So the way you say that obviously is very true, and still one of the main reasons that I can even play Heroes to this day, because I feel like it's less of a gacha and more of a Fire Emblem game to me. As long as that stays true, I'd probably still be playing it for years to come, while still playing the main series, of course.
Yeah.
Speaking of spin-offs, Warriors
was fun, and then I think the problem with like I guess the Warriors game where it's like a lot of button mashing and stuff, I think that kind of just happened to me where I wasn't really getting stimulated by the game anymore.
It does end up becoming, it ends up being a grind.
yeah, and I like, and I know that like Warriors has become more notorious for like a lot of characters, but a lot of reskins, and that's not just a Fire Emblem Warriors thing. Like it's not just Navarre has Lynn's moveset. It's literally that's how like Team Ninja does shit. Like they remodel characters a lot.
Some people would prefer to have the character than not have them at all.
Yeah, and well, that's true too. But it certainly isn't something that I'm really gonna spend money on a reskinned character. But,
yeah, I never bought the DLCs. I might in the future because Niles is there, and Niles is one of my favorite characters. But I know he has a bow moveset that's the same as Takumi and Sakura. But the character is there, so what am I supposed to do, right? When I revisit it and feel like button mashing, then I'll probably revisit it myself. So what are some of your favorite characters then? In case you don't know, I have Niles, Ike, Mia, Hector, and Lynn as my favorites, with Chrom and Neffany kind of hiding in the back. But yeah, what are your favorite characters?
Okay. Let's see. Let's start from earliest in the franchise. Celica, Clive, Lester.
Who's that?
Lester was a Gen 2 character, FE4.
Okay. Yeah, I never got there.
Yeah, he I just memed him out in my stream of FE4. That's why I like him so much. He's just become a funny meme. Arden was always great. Pern. So Pern's a character from FE5 who was really, really cool. And then FE6, I don't really have a favorite character in FE6. FE7, Elliewood, Hector, Renault, Nino, and then FE8. Oh god, the entire cast of FE8, man. Garrick, Dusel, Horde, Rachel.
I think I watched your Elwood support science actually. That one was really good. That one was exceptional. I remember that. You enlightened my eyes on Elwood there. Like honestly,
Okay.
didn't really think much of him until I saw that one. I'll actually give you guys in chat the link for that because it was an outstanding vid.
Thanks, man.
I thought you mentioned a lot of older characters actually. So
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
have you been okay? So how did your YouTubing kind of start then? Which Fire Emblem like basically told you, damn, I just have to create my passion for Fire Emblem because of this game? What was it?
Melee.
Did you say Melee?
Melee.
Okay, this podcast is over. It's not true Fire Emblem fan here.
You didn't spout off all these like one-off characters. No, Melee. Melee was my favorite game. No, so actually, my YouTube start was actually in Fire Emblem ROM hacking, and someone in chat mentioned Bloodlines, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I started I was in a Fire Emblem ROM hacking community. And that's where I started to make YouTube videos. I was actually doing Let's Plays of Fire Emblem ROM hacks. And then eventually I wanted to make my own ROM hack.
You still do this, don't you? I still think you do, yeah.
Yeah, and then that's where me and YouTube and kind of Fire Emblem in a more public sense kind of came from. And then afterwards it just kind of spiraled. I did... I don't remember the first completed Let's Play I did. Maybe it wasn't Gaiden, but yeah, it just kind of blew up that way, and yeah, it came from ROM hacking stuff and that.
So what is it about ROM hacking that makes Fire Emblem interesting to you, and why would anyone else want to try it too? Sure.
Well, with ROM hacking, the really cool thing about a Fire Emblem ROM hack is that you have so much power to change everything. You can change the text, you can create your own characters, you can insert them, you can create your own chapters, you can create anything really. It is the entry level is not even that hard to get into hacking, and you can do literally anything. You can do whatever you.
Are you telling the chat we can use Odin? I'm just kidding. The guy's literally a meme at this point.
Oh yeah, he's a huge meme. But yeah, in hacking, you can do basically whatever you want, and that was a really great outlet for me to express my creativity. And making a ROM hack was still making one is just really fun to do because you're making your own story, you're creating your own world, you're making your own characters, and the fact that you can do that and you can kind of be a developer in that sense and then have people play it as if you're literally showing up you're presenting a game or a patch in this case for people to play. It's freaking sweet, dude. It's awesome. It's a great feeling. You feel so like vindicated and fulfilled when you like finish a patch. You're like, hey guys, play this, and you're like, okay, and then they play it, and you're like, wow, that's my thing.
So it's like cool, game design or game creation for your favorite series in an aspect, without having to go through original designs or original characters to a huge extent, I suppose, or having to design the art. Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like passion, but not having to commit huge resources. What was your first one then? What did you first end up working with?
In regards to what?
ROM hacking. What game did you ROM hack?
Oh, FE7. So at the time, FE7 was the most popular game to hack. Now at this point, it's people are leaning more towards Fire Emblem 8 to ROM because the knowledge is just so much more, and people know about the game a lot more now. And there's a lot more to do. Like the base engine of Fire Emblem Sacred Stones is just better than FE7 is.
You're gonna have to tell me more about this later. You've made me curious.
Okay.
So okay, we've been very optimistic and very happy with Fire Emblem, but what would you say are some critical points that the series needs to work on, maybe in future games, or even like Heroes if you wanted to touch on that, but you don't have to. What do you think in general with Fire Emblem needs some work? Camilla. Sarja.
No, I like Tharia, and I kind of like Camilla too, but I'll brace myself for that one. I guess like following up with how good Echoes was, like Echoes was like a remake, but if they can make a new story and a new everything that like really like it's just a really strong story entry, that'd be cool. Like I don't know, I'm kind of like on the whole like you can buy 3 different games and stuff like from Fates instead of just like buying one game that has everything, but I guess they're entirely different stories and stuff like that. I don't know.
Now that I look back on that, I didn't really, I don't know. It's definitely controversial.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like no franchise is perfect, but I'm always like when it comes to like the latest game like Fates, well, like excluding Echoes because that game was like basically my eyes. Like for Fates, they just need to like make a story that's good, because like I found the gameplay in Conquest was amazing, or I guess they should, if they're gonna do like split paths and stuff, then making the gameplay more consistently good, because the whole idea of like second gen characters and like that just adds so much depth. A lot of people like play Fates and stuff because like child units and like that whole aspect of a second generation and stuff like that. So like Fates has a lot of good stuff going for it, but like the chapters themselves, there's one path that like I find really, really good, and the other 2 paths are like whatever, man.
You're comparing Conquest to Birthright and Revelations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
the majority vote here, and Conquest for gameplay. You're not gonna say for story, right?
Yeah, for gameplay.
Okay. Yeah. Completely on the same page.
Yeah, but that being said, some people like that kind of relaxing, simplistic gameplay that is Birthright.
I gotta admit, it was nice to go from Conquest to Birthright, pair up Ryoma with Corrin, and decide to like just murder everything after the stress involved with beating Conquest. I'm not gonna lie, that was like nice. I just went on Lunatic Birthright, and I'm like, all right, time to just relax. And here he is, killing everything.
Yeah, and that's actually fun, man. Like, there's definitely like fun parts of building up a character just so they're amazingly good, just so they can cream the map. It's fun to watch.
It is. I did that plenty of times with Mia.
Yeah.
So, I think we had a pretty good discussion, Ghast, but I want to maybe give the chat a chance to maybe ask you some questions, because you've been around like for a while, so I'm sure maybe they'd ask more than just Fire Emblem Heroes questions. Do you have the chat open, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, let's give people a chance to ask some questions, maybe like a little bit of a Q&A, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Okay. What are your current projects on YouTube?
I'm doing a Fire Emblem Awakening randomized run, which is hysterical. It is so funny. Okay, so someone asked, favorite Tellius character. That is a good question. Like, I don't know. I can't answer that one. There's a lot of good ones. Like, Tellius's cast is really, really, really good. Like, a lot of their characters are really well written. My current favorite right now is like probably like Zyhark or Janaf or like, yeah, one of those guys, because I've read their supports and stuff and they're really, really good. How can you go to the gym when you have a neck brace on? I actually got rid of my neck brace, dude. Vote me. I don't wear that no more. I actually had a massage today. It was really great. It was actually the reason why we talked about this, eh? Yeah.
Did we talk about this?
Well, I just mentioned it
briefly,
like,
briefly, yeah. Briefly.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna have a massage today, so I won't be here for 2. I'll be here for 3.
That's cool.
Whose voice is worse in Fire Emblem Heroes, Mia or Lilina?
Do you actually know the difference? Have you seen both?
I remember Lilina's being kind of squeaky and mousy and like kind of nasally, so I think Mia's is just better because I remember Lilina just not being good. Or are they the same actress?
They're not the same actress, but yes, I agree with you. Okay, good. Next question. don't hear Mia's. Just go on. Next question.
Est-ce que tu parles français? Oui, je parle français.
Oui.
Okay, what's Poggers? What's that? Like a meme?
If you have this extension on Chrome, you can add these like emoticons that appear on Twitch. It's an extension on Chrome. I could give it to you. All you're gonna see is a bunch of faces of people opening their mouths wide and like an amazement face, like whoa, like that kind of thing.
So, I just read Poggers over and over.
Yeah. Now they're gonna spam it.
Ghast, thank you for your Let's Play videos on Echoes. It was highly entertaining and actually made me genuinely happy to see intelligent systems still capable of good characterization. And just to see your reaction at the changes from Guiding to Echoes was a nice touch. Thank you. favorite FE Lord other than Eliwood, and like Celica, I guess.
This is a good question. What's your personal recommendation for first FE main series title?
Probably, I'm gonna say either Fire Emblem 7 or Awakening. Yeah.
My waifu, real life waifu, started with Birthright, and she got into it because of that. But Awakening's also really good, I think. Birthright because it's really easy, actually, and some people who aren't maybe strategy like gurus. I feel like if you have strategy experience, then you could start with like FE7 or Awakening, and then if you're totally not into strategy games, like Birthright's probably a good choice. And the story is decent. It's not great, but it's not bad. The characterizations are pretty good. They're not bad at all. You can definitely relate to a lot of the characters, and you don't really know like how to optimize characters. You don't get punished for it, and you can kind of just take the game at your pace. Kind of similar to Awakening, but FE7 could be more punishing if you're not into strategy as much. I know there's the Lin tutorial.
That's true. Well, I see where you're coming from with Birthright, but I just find that Awakening is kind of a more complete package. Not only that it is literally just one game, but also that like, as a story, I feel like it's more I like the characters more in Awakening than Birthright, and I think what Awakening kind of does in that it kind of honors a lot of Fire Emblem stuff. Like it has a lot more nods of like the franchise because it was assumed to be the last one.
This is true. Yes, for sure.
And like it's a lot more like there's a lot more archetypical, like there's all archetypes in that game, where it's like you kind of get a better base understanding of Fire Emblem because in Awakening it is just very there's a archetype in all of the characters basically.
Akariss and Chad just had the follow-up question, which is, so when does he get to play Echoes? Because he did hype up Echoes a lot.
Who?
Acere, Asire, that's the person who originally asked the question. He's following it up with, when should he play Echoes then? Because we did hype it up a little bit.
Oh,
You could technically start with Echoes, actually.
you could. That's, I don't know. Echoes, like the learning curve is kind of high. It doesn't really tell you a lot. I'd go like Awakening Fates Echo. Like that's how I would do it.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. You might get disappointed if you go from like Echoes to Awakening or Fates. Actually, that might end up happening. Yeah. Funny story actually. While we're talking about like first games, mine was FE7, and I was really bad to the point where I only used like cavalry. Literally only used cavalry in the first. I was like 10 or 11, I'm sure. This was like over 15 years ago, and I think it was on like chapter 16 or 17 or something, where you had that choke point. It was like a castle entry. I couldn't beat the map. Literally. Yep. So I was really bad at my first Fire Emblem game, and it's been a long time since I've been able to play this game. I think it was like Kane, Sane. No, wait, was it Kane? No, not Kane. It was Kent, Sane, and who was it? Marcus. It was like literally my 3 units that I used in FE7, and then I lost.
The first time I played FE7, I actually got Cog of Destiny, and then I couldn't beat that chapter, so I started over. Like I didn't beat the game. I started over because I was just like I lost. I don't know where all my units are. They're all dead. And then I found out there's permadeath basically, and I had to just restart. It was the one with Linus or Lloyd.
Oh, you got further than me for sure. I got off the boat, and there was like one or two chapters after that, and I was like done. I didn't use Florina. My lords were all under leveled. I'm pretty sure Elwood died to like some random axe user. It was a disaster, man. Marcus ate up all the EXP. Kane and Kent and Sane couldn't do anything. Sane would miss like half his hits, and it was just like I was like, okay, I need to replay this game when I was like 12. Yeah, there's some pretty. If you start with the wrong game or you're not too good on strategy, I know it's hard. I've had a friend of mine that did start with FE7, and he had to restart the whole game as well. It's easy, but it's not that easy if you're not familiar with strategy games or RPGs.
Yeah, you're right.
Genius behind XX Loot XX. Do you know that?
Yeah, I figured out what it was. Like I didn't know what it was. They were like Obsidian Wasp, and I was like, oh, okay, that video. That's a funny video, man. I guess.
I guess it's just like the biggest meme in Fire Emblem.
Well, what do you want? Like, yeah, it's a funny video. Like, yeah, funny. Ghast, I'm a bit of an old man when I play FE. I was not a big fan of how Awakening featured an avatar character as a central protagonist, which the series revolved around. I feel like it ultimately weakened the plot and characterization of other characters, like Cromwell, for example. How do you feel about the drastic departure from these games as opposed to older ones? I actually think that Crom still had a lot to. I feel like Crom wasn't as shafted as hard as people think he was in Awakening.
I agree. Crom fan here.
Yeah. I don't think he was as shafted as he was. But in terms of like Corrin, yeah, I guess like I'm more partial to a game that has like a main character like Alm, because they're not bound by like me being in the game type thing. Like they have they have a history and stuff like that, and the way they do it with Alm is that like Alm's like the prophecy and like the Children of Fate thing is like super important, and like I don't think you could really. I guess you could do that if as a self-insert character, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to answer this question. I guess it's different, but Corrin sucks and Robin's good. I like
Robin. Yeah, Robin's good, but Corrin's not. And I feel they took the complaints from Awakening, which was like, where's the feet? And then like the first thing you see with like the new main character is bare feet. It's like, okay, you took that a little bit too far, Intelligent Systems. First impressions, because he came out on Smash before he came out for us for North America.
Yeah, that was funny. They spoiled they spoiled that one. My friend was cheesed when he saw that because Core in Smash has the Omega Yato, and like my friend was like, "What the hell is that? A chainsaw sword?" And he was like, "Is that canon?" And I was like, "Man, I'm not telling you. Figure it out yourself."
Chainsaw sword? We call it the corn cob over here. It looks like a corn. It looks like a corn cob in Heroes, if you've seen it.
It kind of does too. Yeah, it does. That's funny.
The pixelated sprites, yeah.
How do you feel about Advanced Wars and the series? Not many people actually talk about it, Ghast. I only played like one of those games.
Not a huge fan. Huh?
Yeah.
I love them. They're different take as opposed to RPG, and characterization is still pretty good.
All right.
Okay, I'll try to answer one more question. What other games do you like? That's cool.
I choose to stop.
I used to play Melee competitively. I'm a really big retro gamer. I've played most of the Final Fantasies before 7, Chrono Trigger, Pokemon before the DS era.
We won't give up.
Played Minecraft a bit when I was a kid. Played RuneScape a lot. Oh my god, RuneScape was the best game. Holy cow. Did you ever play RuneScape, man?
I played World of Warcraft. That was my MMO to go. Yeah. Even today, this day, I still kind of dip my toes in there once in a while. But I know plenty of people who got obsessed with RuneScape.
Yeah, I was like super obsessed with RuneScape. Like my parents were like, "You gotta stop." Like I had dial-up when I was a kid, so like I would literally take up the internet. I'd be like, "Dad, can I go on the internet?" And he's like, "Okay." And I would like sneak out. I would sneak like downstairs to like the computer, and I would like play RuneScape at night when no one needed to use the internet.
Yeah, that was me. I also played MapleStory a lot.
I heard about that one. I was thinking about getting to that one, but I never did.
As a kid?
I heard it was really spammy. I heard MapleStory was really spammy.
Yeah, it was. There's just a lot of numbers, and it was really grindy, but it was so grindy to the old school one. It was so grindy to the point where you felt like if you actually like leveled up in that game, you felt like you just beat the world because it was that hard to level up in that game. Yeah, but it's changed now, but the old one was like you got one level and you're like, oh my god, I beat the world.
I also played Shining Force a lot, Shining Force 1 and 2. Chrono Cross I played. The Resident Evil series I played.
I love that one.
Yeah, dude.
What's your favorite there?
4. Easy.
Yeah, hello. I couldn't even get through that. I had to make my like dad play it or my cousin because I was like too scared of the chainsaw dudes. I was like, I swear to you, I would hear a chainsaw in FE4 and I just pause the game. Be like, Dad, can you play this part for me? I was like, no, not for me.
Oh my god, that's jokes. And then there was like some like really random like Nintendo games I played. I played Shadowrun. Which is like this cyberpunk like video game where it's like a top-down view and it's like an RPG. There's like a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons kind of elements in there. It was really, really cool. Maybe someone in chat knows what Shadowrun is. If they do, then like props.
I have no idea what it is. You said Nintendo though?
Super Nintendo. Yeah, the
Really?
original Shadowrun.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think this was pretty good, man. Thanks so much for making an appearance.
Kirby.
Oh.
I'm just gonna plug in Kirby. Kirby was the shit. Anyways, yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
I look forward to maybe doing it again sometime if you want to. Maybe whenever. Maybe even bring somebody else in if you want. And thanks again, man. Thanks for making an appearance.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thanks, chat, for having me and asking questions. I gotta bounce, got stuff to do, but yeah, good
I'll
talking to you.
definitely check them out.
And we'll be in touch, man.
Of course. Take it easy, Ghast. Peace.
Deuces, man. Bye.